Now, welcome along, 7:05. Good to have your company. And there are calls this morning to save Portsmouth-based warship HMS Edinburgh, but the voices that want to steer her from the scrapyard are mainly coming from Scotland. The Type 42 destroyer was decommissioned in June and was the last of its type to be taken out of service. Here's how we reported on the day she came back to Portsmouth.
Royal Navy's last remaining Type 42 destroyer returns to Portsmouth for the final time this morning. HMS Edinburgh has been on a farewell tour across the UK. That's ahead of her decommissioning next week. Commander Nick Bourbon has been speaking to Julian Clegg, shipped ashore in the last hour.
She was launched in 1983 and commissioned into the Royal Navy in 1985, so we're just at 28 years of service now. She's served all over the world. She's assisted in humanitarian relief in East Timor in her early days. She was part of the Gulf War in 2003, and more recently a stalwart of the Falklands Patrol, the South Atlantic Patrol. And so she's really done her duty over the 28 years of her life.
So that's how we reported on HMS Edinburgh returning to Portsmouth as she was decommissioned. Paul Gibb is a former marine engineering mechanic on the ship from 1991 to 1994, and he joins me from our Edinburgh studio this morning. Hi, Paul.
Morning, Julian.
Thanks for coming on the show. So, look, you're doing great work here to try and save Edinburgh. Tell me a bit more why you feel she should be saved.
She is the last Type 42 destroyer. I mean, the Type 42s have been the backbone of the Royal Navy for the past 30 years. You might even know the Type 42s is the Sheffield class. I just feel that part of that era needs to be saved. Allowing the public to experience a Type 42 at action stations, the sounds, the smells of the ship, I think it's paramount, to be honest. And so many ships are getting sent away to get scrapped. I mean, there's pictures on our Facebook page, Save HMS Edinburgh, the Newcastle getting ripped to pieces at the moment, and it's just really sad. I think one of them needs to stay with us.
And you want to turn it into a sort of living museum, I presume?
Yeah, well, that's the plan, yeah. Certainly Edinburgh Council are involved, and they've been in talks with the MOD. They've put a note of interest in trying to get the ship back up to Edinburgh in Leith beside the Royal Yacht Britannia.
There are some who are saying it's a pity it's not going to be in Portsmouth.
Yeah, well...
Got to ask.
Well, yeah, when I was on the Edinburgh, 1991 to 1994, it was a Rosyth-based ship. They used to call her Scotland's capital ship at the time. It became a Portsmouth-based ship in 1995, I think it was. I don't know, I just feel that Portsmouth, there is a lot of maritime history down there. You've got a graveyard of ships sitting down there. I don't think you guys want her. We do.
All right, well, that's honest and passionate too. Tell me about time on board and what made her special. And I know from the Facebook page you've got lots of people who've served on Edinburgh who are getting involved and getting in touch, and there's a real camaraderie, isn't there?
Yeah, it is really good. We're getting loads of information, loads of photos. We're doing a wee video and getting some ex-crew members to speak on the video, just popping it on YouTube. When I was on the Edinburgh, I think my first trip was a Gulf deployment, just after the first Gulf War. Right. We were the first ship in Kuwait after she was liberated. We did the Adriatic conflict as well, and just before I left her, she took part in the D-Day 50th anniversary celebrations. At the time she was actually the Royal Yacht's guard ship as well, so it's quite poetic if she does end up beside the Royal Yacht looking after her again.
Yeah, quite a lot of history. We've spoken to the MOD, by the way, and I've got a little quote here. They wouldn't come on the show, there's a surprise, but they say no decisions have yet been made. We always aim to achieve the best possible return for the taxpayer when disposing of surplus assets. There is no date scheduled for any decision on this. It's down to the DSA, who will be making sure the best value for money is achieved. The DSA being what, Paul? You would know, presumably, what that stands for. I
imagine it's... Do you know, I don't know. Disposals Authority, something. I ain't got a clue.
We'll work on that. That's our job. So the thing there that crosses my mind is how much, therefore, when they talk about best possible return for the taxpayer, would it be... I mean, have you got to buy it? Have your supporters got to buy it? Or what's the plan?
Well, to be honest, that's between Edinburgh Council and the MOD. What they want to pay for, what the negotiations are. My goal and the goal of the Facebook page is to get people to sign the e-petition. That was created by Graham White, just another like-minded soul like myself. Signing the e-petition, it quantifies public opinion, and we're hoping that by doing that we can tempt the MOD into say, look, Edinburgh Council, they're going to look after it's going to make money, and it is going to make money. It will make more money than scrap value in the long term. And
DSA, by the way, is the Disposal Services Authority, which is probably why it didn't trip onto my tongue or yours, but so now we know. So you've presumably got to put a business plan together here to make this work, haven't you?
Well, not personally, no. I mean, I had a discussion with the Lord Provost, the Edinburgh Councillor Donald Wilson, the other week. A lovely gentleman. He's 100% committed to this. He's in talks with Margot MacDonald, the MSP, Tom Farmer from Farmers Garages, and Bob Downey, the Chief Executive from the Royal Yacht, along with Forth Ports.
Right.
So, from what I can gather, they guys are actually doing all that anyway. I'm just keeping up the public support side of things.
Well, look, Paul, I reckon there's going to be a lot of people from our part of the world who will want to support you, because at the end of the day, as you said, there's a lot of ships in Portsmouth. Maybe we could let you have this one, and I think people would like to help you out. So there's a Facebook page, facebook.com, and it's Save HMS Edinburgh, by the way, if you're listening,
the one, yep.
And you want to get in touch with Paul and the rest of the gang. Thank you for coming on the show today.
Thank you, Julian.
Cheers,
it's my pleasure.
Bye-bye. Paul
Bye.
Gibb, and we'll keep in touch with Paul and get updates from him on how he's getting on with his campaign to save HMS Edinburgh. BBC Radio Solent. It's 11 minutes past 7. Well, it's been